Welcome to this New Thought Sunday service, January 16, 2021. My name is Stephen Goss, and I am the facilitator for today's service. Life is good, but due to rising COVID numbers, this is a virtual service. Our speaker today has been with us many times, and her name is Nancy Shipley Rubin. And it's always been a wonderful experience for all of us at New Thought. We have some great music ministers today, Gary and Angelisa. Together, they are the Harmony People. And after you listen to them, I think you'll know why they're called the Harmony People. May we all be so harmonious. So now we'd like to start with some music from the Harmony People.
Okay, gotta find it now. Where'd it go? Good morning, everybody. I'm just gonna find the song. There it is. Indigo ocean, turquoise bay, colors of perfection on a sunny blue day. Hey, 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 we're living in a dream. We're living in a dream. Waterfall, mountain stream, jump into the water, cool and clean. Hey, 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 we're living in a dream. 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 We're living in a Do you dream in color when you sleep at night? The colors are even more beautiful in the day's clear light. There must be 1,000 shades of green. It's all more vivid when we're sharing the dream. We're living in a dream. Ah, we're living in a dream. Ah, we're living in a dream. Ah, we're living in a dream. Galaxy M33, that's the farthest thing the naked eye can see. The nearest star lights up our day from 93 million miles away. Hey, 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 we're living in a dream. I used to live my life asleep at the wheel, thinking the things that happened to me were oh so real. I opened my eyes, it was plain to see, no longer a passenger in my life, the driver is me. Hey, 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 we're living in a dream. 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 We're living in a We are the dreamers, the dreaming the dreamed. Everything in life is so much simpler than it seemed. Humble and human, we rise from the dirt. The children of the children of the children of the earth. We're living in a dream. Ah, 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 ah, living in a dream. Thank you.
Okay, I guess I was muted. And I didn't do it. It's electronic. But anyways, that was a great dream. Just listening to that music. Thank you so much, Angelisa, Gary. Great lyrics. I think we'll do an opening prayer now. And this is a time for us to focus and get in touch with our inner guidance. The goal is to be here right now. And I read a humorous quote lately that applies to this. There is no better place than here. Because when you're there has become here, you will simply obtain another there that will again look better than here. So we might as well just be here now. And also, by taking the time to take a look within, we will make this a interactive service, even beyond what the internet can offer. And we don't need any extra wiring because we already have the ability to connect with each other and all there is. So right now, let's all take a deep breath together. And as we slowly let it out, we can release all our concerns, all those distractions that keep us from recognizing the peace and love surrounding us. We will remain silent starting for about 1 minute now. Welcome back. And now we're going to have a reading from A Science of Mind by Shana Gregory.
Everything we say, do, and think aligns us with darkness or light, love or grievance. Thus, everything is a spiritual practice, whether we are aware of it or not. We are constantly, in every moment, aligning with one way of being or another. The choice is ours to make each moment of the day. Ernest Holmes says, we cannot live a choiceless life. Every day, every moment, every second, there is choice. If it were not so, we would not be individuals. During the course of a day, so many things can happen, and I have reactions to those events. The events can be anything from world-sized things like the pandemic, airlifts out of Afghanistan, or a shooting at the local school, to smaller things like stubbing my toe or cutting my finger during dinner prep. In each instance, I have the ability to choose how I feel and what I'm going to do about it. The choice of emotion depends on the strength of my spiritual practice. Every day, I pray whether I need to or not. I meditate for the same reason, and I find myself listening deeply to coworkers, friends, and family. Deep listening for me is a spiritual practice. It takes me out of my head and puts me in the moment. In this way, I'm able to be present for whoever is talking. Having a strong spiritual practice gives me the presence of mind to be present for the moment. In this way, I know what to do when faced with a world or personal event. In the case of the pandemic, my intuitive voice led me to be immunized. I did my part in helping to stop the spread of COVID-19. In the case of Afghanistan, I've been in deep prayer for the people and our governments. In the case of the school shooting, my husband and I went to the candlelight vigil to bear witness and hold the high watch to the grief of a community stricken by the death of a child. And in the case of my cut finger, it required only a Band-Aid. The affirmation for today. Today, I have a spiritual practice that can handle all the events of my life. Let's say it together. Today, I have a spiritual practice that can handle all the events of my life.
Oh, thank you so much, Shana. And now I bet we could handle some more music from the Harmony people.
The song is called Bird's Eye View.
Hmm.
There's a creekside trail near where I stay. I go there and meditate most every day. The mirror of the water shows a changing sky. The fallen colored leaves of autumn go floating slowly by. I try to listen deeply to the water's sound. It helps me with these questions that go round and round. I wonder and I worry, did I get things wrong? Perhaps I'll hear my answer in your soft and quiet song. Oh, I need a bird's eye view. Down here in the trenches, I'm losing my perspective. Won't my feathered friends please come to my rescue? Take me on a journey full of fresh air and endless blue. Loo-loo-loo, la la la. Ah, la 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 la. A flutter of your feathers and a flash of blue. You probably feel my eyes on you. I can see you hopping from tree to tree. I envy you your freedom, and I guess you don't envy me. Oh, I need a bird's eye view. Down here in the trenches, I'm losing my perspective. Won't my feathered friends please come to my rescue? Take me on a journey full of fresh air and endless blue. Loo-loo-loo, la la la. Ah, la 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 la. When you've landed in the branches of your favorite tree, You're singing with your family while the sun goes down. I'm hoping you will sing a little prayer for me and send it with the sunset as it circles the world around. Loo-loo-loo-loo, la la la. Oh, I need a bird's eye view down here in the trenches. I'm losing my perspective. Won't my feathered friends please come to my rescue? Take me on a journey full of fresh air and endless blue. Loo-loo-loo-loo, la la la. Oh, I need a bird's eye view. Yes, I need a bird's eye view. Take me on a journey full of fresh air and endless blue.
Thank you again to the Harmony people. Seems like every time I quit talking, it mutes itself. I have to unmute it. Anyways, I have lots of feathered friends flying around outside my window and dancing on the roof right now. I got a little bit out of order there, so I'm going to go back now and say a little bit about the New Thought Center of Hawaii. Our sanctuary of aloha. The New Thought Center has its roots in religious science, which was founded by Ernest Holmes. And he in turn was influenced by many different early thinkers like Emerson and Thoreau and many more. They all go way back in time. So New Thought isn't really new. It's just what has always worked to help us get in touch with the truth within. New Thought provides a loving, accepting, non-judgmental community. We create a sanctuary for the nourishment, development, and evolution of each individual's unique spiritual path. We have come to understand that no single source has a exclusivity as regards to spiritual truth, health, and joy. We know that all things are connected and that there's no part of life that doesn't contain lessons for us. So if you're alive, that means there are still lessons to be learned. And now I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker for today, which is Nancy Shipley Rubin. She's a gifted psychic, a counselor. And Nancy provides a clear, direct guidance and teaching. Her work has evolved from over 25 years of psychic practice, formal studies in psychology and contemplative studies. The information is presented in a grounded format with real life examples. Nancy encourages each person to access their own inner guidance and recognize their unique gifts. I love the way she presents the principles of empowerment in a kind and humorous way. I really appreciate the humorous manner because I think becoming more aware should be fun. And maybe that makes us all fundamentalists. Nancy has presented for us at New Thought many times before. We honor her as an old friend and a wise teacher. Now, if you Please welcome Nancy.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much. And thank you, Angelina and Gary, for the music. It's beautiful. And, here we are in January, right? It's like we have now to set the seeds for our new year. That's pretty much what January does. The only thing that happens for us here in Hawaii is we measure ourselves by wet and dry season. So if you walk outside the door, every plant on my hillside is blooming right now. And there is this huge bouquet of butterflies and bees. And so that I greet you in my spring, and that's the gift that we have here in Hawaii, is that we bring the beginning of the year with the power of new life. But the idea of this time, January comes from Janus, which is a Roman god that basically spoke of doorways, of openings. And so we have this little moment of time together. And I just want to have you breathe and open and be with me, because I might be doing the talking, but we are building a field together. And if you participate with me, you will have planted your seeds for the year. If you listen to me, then you'll watch my garden grow, right? So I just want to encourage you to kind of get your hands here in the soil of your own heart and be able to participate for the strength of what we've come here to do. So the aspects of inspiration, its root is to be in spirit, to be in the spirit of. And so if we go back to Ernest Holmes and what Stephen was giving us in that sense of where we are and where else are we but here, right? But at the same time, we have many dimensions available to us. That is the gift of precious human birth. We have many levels available. For those of you who peer into the dark, who look at the problems and the difficulties of the times that we're in right now, we honor you because you will be capable of bringing the light, because you're noticing, because you sense. And so that the strength of new thought says that the power of your thoughts make a difference. So that in that way, this thought that we're holding here around the foundation of your life right now and what it is to become, this power will sit in a thought form, in a seed that will plant deep into your subconscious and energize you. One of the biggest archetypes that we have available on our planet right now is death. So that is our teacher. And however we embrace it, whatever way we come to, there's an understanding that when you really come to the power of death, death is light. I've had the honor of welcoming new ones into the world, to that great channel of the mother, and the honor to be able to usher those out who are basically recognizing that they're complete for whatever reason it is. They're ready to shift to another level. That we have to be careful here that we don't bring too much fear into death, because we'll miss the point. So if death is dark, it's not the actual passage that we're talking about here. It's whatever is in front of that door. Whatever it is that is the unfinished pattern or the unfinished business, that we know is heavy. So when most people, when I speak to them around this aspect of death, they realize that they're not really afraid of dying. It's like, you're gone now. They're afraid of suffering. And so that the level that we all suffer is where we come in with that statement of, how do I choose to relate to it? What is my position in relationship to the darknesses and the opportunities of the world? How do you participate? And that in many of these situations, we're not really able to change what is. It's bigger than us, but we can shift our relationship to it. So I'm asking you here first to embrace this aspect of being in spirit of, to call on this level of inspiration, these strengths of powers that live beyond your conscious thinking, that live beyond your conditioned reactions, that give you a level of aliveness and passion to do whatever it is that you wish to do whatever it is that you need to do. I was one, never wanted to do anything I didn't want to do. It was kind of a tricky thing. I turned it often into a rock. If you asked me to do something I didn't want to do, I just closed down, cut off, didn't want to deal with it. Learned later that I grew mold and it got really heavy. And that whole idea of not dealing with something I don't want to deal with wasn't actually very skillful. But that was how I chose to deal with it. When I came a little more conscious, looking for other means than just basically going into amnesia around what was taking place, my heart started to speak to me in a different way and move me to a position of honoring the bigness of my being. We all are very big. We have very large energetics. It's just part of nature. Question was, what am I doing with it? Am I letting it just be that rock where I'm solidly in the center of sameness? Or do I have an understanding that this would be like a power battery that would hold my awareness in this amnesia kind of way until I'm ready to step in and dance the dance, to participate, to be part of this larger journey and connection. So I'm in an interesting spot here with you. My job is to inspire you, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing. And so that you're going to have to figure out what that means to you. Does that mean you breathe? Does that mean that you listen? That deep listening place? Does it mean that you come to what's on your plate right now and bring life to it? It's a question, isn't it? And it just depends. Again, I can't ask somebody to do something they can't do. And so then when we come to the first aspects of the heart, and this is good to know for your friends, is you recognize what is the capacity here. So if I meet somebody who's traumatized, for me to tell them to get over it and be done with it because I don't want to hear it anymore, not skillful. So I have to measure my capacity. How much can I sit there and listen to this person who is definitely trauma-filled? What can I do? What is my relationship to their trauma? What is my relationship to the difficulties? To where it is that I suddenly start muting or closing down, and often then judging or blaming the other person for putting me in the situation in the first place. So if we're measuring capacity, you would be able to know just how much you can fill in your cup to where you would be able to say, let's pray, or let's come to this from another place. Let's ask for inspiration. Let's open to the new. Because any aspect of trauma and difficulty is usually recited from a very deep feeling place inside that hasn't got over it yet. It's a memory. If you are in this place, you deserve compassion. If you're sick, or you're in a place of laboring, or you are having a hard time for whatever reason it is, compassion is our only answer. And we start there by giving compassion to ourselves, and especially breathing it into this thought center of ours, and breathing it into our heart, breathing it into our solar plexus. So if you're fortunate enough to be in the silver lining of COVID, and there's a number of us that are, then it's yours to be able to build and strengthen your light and recognize that you have a capacity that's being called on bigger than you ever imagined was possible. If you are at the effect of this dark sweep of death that's coming through our plane, then we will have to understand that you are to open to a different part of your nature. You've heard of near-death experiences before. We've read about them. People have wrote about them. What did they say? I got up to a certain point. I was ready to go over. I was so excited. I was going to go into the light, and there was some kind of glitch that happened, and I got sent back, told that I wasn't quite done yet, and that I had to go back. It was always this huge, sad moment. Zach Bush told a story around the sense of death and processes. And he said he's had one day as a medical doctor, and he brought 3 people back to life, just on that edge, brought them back. All 3 of them, he said, why the hell did you bring me back? I was trying to help, right? So that there is a certain kind of dual relationship that we have with this teacher of ours here that has to say, on one level, we have to embrace this power of light as we watch the death of the world as we've known it to be. As we watch extinction in process. Millions of birds are dying every year from this extinction aspect that we're talking about, that we think are free and singing. They're under it just as much as we are. So I don't mean to come to you from a morbid aspect. I mean to come to you from a sense of, let's deal with what's in front of us. Let's be willing to come out from our hardness and our rock of protection and open to the new. And it takes the willingness to be in your spirit, to live in the strength of your heart, to be able to be full and alive, both from the sense of those, again, that are here to be able to share. And you don't have to leave your house. You don't have to do anything special. You just have to open your heart and let your light out. That's all that's asked. Be a ray of sun. And that for me, I'm not one that tries to get rid of anything in my existence. I think recycling hit hard on my end, and I never really have a sense that if I can use this thing somehow, I will figure out what to do with it. I come to my emotions in the same kind of way. Any protective, any kind of safety shield, any kind of wall that I'm building is built with my mana and has a tremendous amount of power to it. So if you ever greeted me in hard anger, you would go, whoa, don't let Nancy get mad at you, right? Strong power. What was basically challenged in my world of learning and growing was to take that power and recycle it. So rather than sitting in a position where I am hard and closed and basically consumed by my own whatever it is, I'm asked to penetrate, not get rid of, but to penetrate the power of what is here protecting me. And so what we were encouraged to do with any kind of difficulty that was encasing us was to respect it. So I come to hard anger and I respect the protection it gives me. I come to resentment and I respect not the ways and means that comes out of the mouth of that which is resentful, but the power that is basically fueling that resentment in the first place, because it's always about an instinctual protection. So if we're here to evolve, that first aspect we understand is we have choice here in how we're going to relate. We have a space within the choice is not to just click the channel and go to another place. It doesn't work really well. You end up getting back on that baseline over and over and over again. That when we come to patterns, we often find that the pattern itself doesn't change. So that I may greet the same tendency in myself in all the different formative cycles of my life. In fact, when you go to make a big change, usually the first thing you get greeted with is a sense of what is in your power at this point. So here we are, January, opening new doors, setting seeds for what is in front of us. not by trying to make the world different than it is, but embracing it and connecting into ourselves to be able to recognize how we are within our own power. And at that point, to open to something new. That's new thought, right? As Stephen said, this is not new, it's been here forever. But when it comes, the entry, it's like a pure drop of water coming into your being. You can have these revelational moments where your heart opens up and starts to take action in your world, and you'll live in a space of revelation. Dalai Lama said that probably one of the worst diseases we have on our planet right now is dullness. That sense of being worn down and not enough life force coming in. So that's why I'm grateful that we can be together, that we can talk about this, that we can take a look and go, wow, Nancy, you don't know walls. You haven't seen mine yet, man. And it's like, well, I don't know, I'm pretty good too. And so that how do you penetrate a hardness or an anger? By being willing to be with it in your heart and have mercy and compassion to the part of you that needs to be so protected. It is not here that we're looking at it as a wound or something or another. Most of the time, what you're protecting is the unknown in yourself. Parts of your own being that you have not yet explored or connected to. That because it may not feel like it fits in, right? We are social animals, we have herd instinct, that we may have hidden parts of our nature out of a fear of them being disturbed or damaged or destroyed. We may have treasures in our being that we have protected to, after a while, we think we're the crustiness of the protection. I'm an old trunk, rather than being in the true sense of being able to explore our jewels. When Marianne Williamson said, hey, you know, I don't think you guys are afraid of your dark. What did she say? I think you're afraid of your light. It must mean the light's pretty powerful, that the light brings change, the bright brings wonder, but not in a place of fantasy, but in a space that says, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to open, I'm going to allow myself to perceive something new. Now, again, this is where when we circle around, we say, okay, got a little bit of tricky here, because if we come and you're tired and your energy is low and you just don't have the energy to try to embrace anything else, then your journey goes inward and you discover something new about yourself deep inside. So you lay on the couch in your discovery of the new. It isn't something that has to go out and create action. I have to acknowledge for myself, I had 3 really pretty strong sicknesses in my life. Sicknesses that probably was going to land me, nervous system, things like that. My body healed. I came to the other side and I was grateful. Often my gestation process was often around 9 months. And then I looked at what had come out of me during that time. Many of us that went into incubation, quarantine, they call it, that sense of being able to come into ourselves in a way that we had no influences except the 4 corners of our room. Basically had to greet an aspect of ourself that we may not have known was even there before. Or the restlessness and the uncomfortableness of parts of ourself that we were still afraid of. So in my experience, I had to ask myself, could I have made this leap in behavior, in consciousness, in awareness without that sickness? Could I have given myself permission to work less? Could I have given myself permission to create some kind of healthy no? Could I break this part of me that feels that the only reason I'm here is to give, and not have any capacity of knowing how to receive? Could I have shifted and changed those very powerful commands in my body without losing my energy, without going into a sense of repose? And you know the answer. It was no, I don't think I could have. I had to stop something that was pushing me out before I could embrace something that was welcoming me in. Even when that in is a space of sleep and rest. I have a sense that for many of us, the time we're in now, 2022, is this space of us just starting to come out of incubation, where we know we're different. We don't know exactly what that means. We know that we can't go back and do it the old way, that that's gone already. But we don't know where the bridge is for the next one. So what does it create? Confusion, overwhelm when you're trying to make it work the old way and it doesn't anymore. A deeper sense of questioning of the nature of who you are. And so when your spirit talks to you, when your heart gets to have a voice and something to say around some of these conflicts, your spiritual practice begins. Not because of something that happens out there, but because something that happens inside. And you are the only one that can give permission for this to happen. I could talk to you for a week and you think it's all so lovely, good old Nancy, but this power, this shifting of planting a very deep spiritual awakening in your belly only comes through your hand and your willingness. Now, I know you guys, you've done this before, right? It's not like the first time that we're out there growing our garden. No. But it is a time where there is a whole other level of fertility in the body that has to basically be broken through so we can come to a fertile network of strength and aliveness that allows you to come to the next aspect. So inspiration, this power to be inspired, meaning spirit lives within, right, is something that you could ask for. You could say, let me experience this power of inspiration. Let me have the sense that I have fertile ground for the seeds that I'm planting. If you're in a position of going, what seeds am I planting? What's going in the garden? And you might have to go and check some of what's important in your life right now. You might have to look and see, why are you here? Because if you don't know, you're going to live in this confusion. You're going to live in the hallway of your life. You need to know where you're going. You need to know what you're planting in your garden. So what kinds of things do we plant? Always, it's like, there's always love. We can always plant love in our garden. We can plant truth in our garden. We can plant compassion. That would start. Then we have this next level of fertilization and connection that comes through that daily watering, which I would encourage you to either, if you're in the cold countries, spend time looking out in nature. And if you're in the warm countries, get your feet outside. Take in the gifts of nature. That when you have challenges and this sense that the world is over as we've known it to be, and we're still bridging the gap of what it's going to become, watch what you project into your new world. I had to accept that trauma in my body projects fear into my world. It's an equation. I never had a traumatic moment that ever gave me a happy ending. Never, never, never. Couldn't get it to work. So that if I have a sense that I recognize that I'm projecting fear into my future, I'm going to have to stop and go take care and see what is in my psyche, what needs compassion. The fastest way to shift this in your being, if you are in that place where you're projecting fear and worry and concern into your future, you got to go back to the sense of penetrating your wall. Underneath your wall will be an unformed part of your nature, and this unformed part of your nature needs to be nourished. It's not like scary monsters are in there. There's unformed parts of you. There's a way that you will reach and touch into your power. I can only point at it. Again, this is up to you. Where are we going? So that my job is to inspire you, right? To give you the strength and courage to realize the essential goodness of you, to recognize that any obstacles that you are faced with, you build your relationship to them. And you give yourself permission to recognize that if you're frightened, then say so and ask for safety. Don't pretend over it or think you can will it away. Penetrate your experience that you're in right now and listen carefully to where it wants you to go. I couldn't make my sickness go away, and I look back at it, and when if it had, I would have come out of the oven half baked. Have you ever hung out with a cake that's half baked? Nobody gets real excited about it, I'll tell you. And it's like, so that even you put the frosting on it, it's still like, Nancy's baking, that kind of thing. So we come back to the sense of allowing whatever process we're in, because we're not done yet. You won't be seeing the end of this kind of cycle piece that we're playing with here probably till mid-March. And then a whole other level of energy is going to start opening, growing the seeds that you planted in your garden. So if we can hear each other, we can respect our fear, we can respect the worry, we can respect that the extinction powers that have been talked about for the last 100 years are hitting the humans in a way that we have to be able to come to a new relationship of being on Earth. And we have here in Hawaii wonderful teachers that sing to our land and our flowers and our trees and honor the lehua, honor the graces that is given. You know, it's sometimes hard to talk about this without a sense that we're saying that something's wrong. I have to be careful sometimes because I can give speeches, you know, and and none of it's worth anything. What's worth it is you and I feel each other right now in this moment and remember that we love each other. And that we love each other a lot. And that we will do whatever it takes for this love and this warmth and this connection to continue. And that's what we plant in our garden, the strength of our community, whether we're watching each other over TV or whether it is that we're sitting right next to each other with a good pot of soup. We must remember each other. We must remember that we love each other. And in that power of love, my heart feels warm in this moment. That will birth our new time. So when I open to the new, as Stephen said, it's not new, really. It's ancient old. It's ancient old, but it's fresh as the morning dew. So nice big breath. Let's close our eyes for 1 second and plant our seeds. We bring love, warmth, and compassion. We honor our fear. We honor the deep sense of protection that we have placed ourselves in. We penetrate it, asking for the power to open to something new as a doorway, as a passage. as a portal. Nice breath in the heart space. Welcome to the treasures of your heart. Beautiful. Thank you. Stephen, I give it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm inspired. That was so powerful. Question like, honor my fears. Like, hey, I want to give up fear, being afraid. I can recognize it, but I don't want to be afraid of it. That's the same as honoring.
Well, fear is a contraction. And so does my whole being contract around that feeling, or do I accept that part of me is contracting? Fear is a healthy thing. It's like that it's basically telling me when I'm stepping into an unstable environment. That's what fear does for me. It's like the problem we have is we have so many unstable environments that it might think that that's all you got, right? So that you have to become, in a sense of understanding fear as an instinct and what it's doing for you, get it to work for you rather than to have a sense. It's like to say, I don't want to have any more fear, I think would eliminate a tremendous perceptive ability that we have, because my fear keeps me very keen. I notice things I never noticed once I get a sense of that little who's out there. But so I would say that the idea is to utilize your fear as an instinct and let it get you stronger.
Thank you. That was perfect for me.
Good, good.
Perfect answer. Oh, once again, you rang the bell.
Thank you.
Now's the time for donations, and the Harmony people are going to play some music for us during this. And the New Thought Center of Hawaii greatly appreciates your donations, especially during the times we can't really gather together for our normal programs and services. According to many teachers, the act of unselfish giving is both beneficial to the giver and the receiver, and it opens up the consciousness to a greater prosperity. You can donate electronically by clicking on the button on our homepage of New Thought, which connects you to the New Thought PayPal account. And there's a choice to donate by debit or credit card. Donations by check can be mailed to the New Thought Center of Hawaii, P.O. Box 333, Kealakekua, Hawaii. Oh, right. What's the box number?
96750.
Oh. And the zip code is 96750. And all donations are fully deductible for tax purposes. And so now, if the Harmony people could regale us with a little giving music. You can hum or sing along.
Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, world is too full to talk about. ring the bell that you can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Oh, that's how the light gets in. Oh, that's how the light gets in.
Thank you again, Angelisa, Gary, the Harmony people. Would you like to say a quick announcement of things you have going?
Certainly. Well, we just have one major thing going, which is tonight, January the 16th, is that this will be airing. And we'll be performing our Live at 5 concert at 3 o'clock Hawaii time, 5 o'clock Pacific time, from right here in our living room. We'll sing for about an hour and then have a Zoom meeting afterwards. If you'd like to get to get the link to the Zoom meeting, just contact us through our contact page at theharmonypeople.com.
Or you could email us, theharmonypeople@gmail.com.
Yeah.
That'll work. Or if you're Facebook friends with us, you can give us a private message. So there's a few options of how to find us. And the Zooms are just a lovely time to just check in with each other. How's it going? From across all this distance and wildness that we're all experiencing. So, yeah, hope to see some of you.
Yeah.
And thanks for having us today, everybody, there at New Thought. We really enjoyed being with you and singing with you.
Okay, we were really great to have you today.
It's really heartwarming to be with you. You also can just drop by our Facebook pages because it will be
Okay.
streamed there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be there tuning in.
Yay.
Yep.
Now, coming up at New Thought Center of Hawaii, our Sunday service are online only for the whole rest of January. And check our New Thought website, YouTube link for pre-recorded videos will be shown each Sunday at 10 a.m. and remain available afterwards. The next two Sundays coming up, next Sunday, Dr. Susan Gregg. Do you really want 2022 to be different? And once again, we're blessed with music by the Harmony people. On 1:30:22, Kuma Keala Ching, Ihu Welo Mauloa. That means honored legacy forever. I'm sure I butchered the pronunciation. Monthly events, those that aren't canceled for January, they're all canceled. Service opportunities, volunteers needed for our 50th Jubilee Planning Group. It's not too late. The celebration will extend into 2022, and we still need a person to maintain our Facebook page for the New Thought Center. And we'll need some volunteers to serve on the Board of Trustees starting in March. Any volunteer to serve on the nominating community. And Nancy, that's the end of our announcements, but Nancy, we'd like to hear your announcements.
So Zoom has been quite amazing because we can stay connected in a whole other way. So one of our gifts that we created in the beginning was what we call Free Fridays, where we could just be together for an hour in the strength of teaching. And so it's a lecture format. It's at 3 o'clock Hawaii time every Friday. And so we just invite you to just come on board. You can get the link from my website, which is rubinenterprises.info, or you can just email us and we'd be glad to give it to you. our next work is Treasures of the Heart. As you can see, we're talking about taking down our old treasure chests and figuring out how to get them open so that the strength of our true light and jewels can be revealed. And we're going to do a workshop on that one. So it will be February 25th is the Free Friday, if you just want to listen and get a sense of it. And then the 25th, 26th is the weekend, 2 hours in the morning, Saturday and Sunday. And then we will have a study program that will come after that, starting March 9th. And so this is all on our website if you're interested. And the biggest gift that you can give us is shine your light. Take it for a walk. Not if you don't have the energy or capacity to give it outward, make sure the light is on inside of you. That's the greatest gift that you can give us. So thank you, Stephen. And thank you all. I really love being with you. It's good.
Yeah,
We love New Thought.
I also enjoyed it. And I just noticed that I started out the service by announcing January 16th, 2021 instead of 22.
Woo-hoo, we made it over. We got the tutu.
Yeah. So now it's time for our end of the service closing song by the Harmony people are going to do that for us. Take it away, Harmony people.
Okay, so this song is called When There Is Music, because we all know music is the universal language of joy and connection, and it doesn't matter what's going on around us. Music always brings it into a higher vibration and joins people in the heart. So please sing with us as you get to know this song. It's super repetitive, so if you haven't heard it before, you'll probably know it by the end verse, and then it's like everybody, wherever you are in the world, should be harmonizing to your heart's content, trying new things, call and response, you name it, because you've been very well steeped in the song by the time we get there. So here we go with When There's Music. When there is music, all is right in the world. When there is music, all is well. When there is music, all is right in the world. All is right in the world. When there is song,
When there is rhythm,
when there is rhythm,
all is right in the
is
world.
right.
When there is rhythm,
When there is rhythm,
all is well.
all is well.
When there is
rhythm, all is right in the world. All is right in the world. When there is song, when there is melody,
When there is melody,
all is right
all
in the
is
world.
right.
When there is melody,
When there is melody,
all is well.
is well.
When there is
When there is melody,
all is
all
right
is right
in the world. All is right in the world. When there is song, when there is harmony, all is right in the world. When there is harmony, all is well.
all is well.
When there is harmony, all is right in the world. All is right in the world. When there is song. Now, if you're not singing, you should be by now, because we're going to do the first verse again. When there is music, all is right in the world. When there is music, all is well. When there is music, all is right in the world. All is right in the world. When there is song, so sing it with me. All is right in the world. When there is song, that's right. All is right in the world. When
there is sun.